Welcome back to FlyEaglesFly News, where the latest updates, hot takes, and everything you need to know about the Eagles come straight to you. Today, we are diving into some big moves and shifts happening in Philadelphia, starting with Jalen Hurts. This guy is stepping up in a way that shows real leadership, because he's taking matters into his own hands. At this point in the season, every decision counts. And the way Hurts is reviewing his old game tape, looking for what worked and what didn't, shows a commitment that can't be questioned. People have been questioning his leadership, talking about whether he really wants to win or if he's hesitant to run the ball. But this kind of initiative speaks volumes, watching him dissect past games, identifying successful plays, and figuring out how to implement them into the current offense is the kind of dedication a team needs, especially when the margin for error is zero. Now, moving over to some roster updates. The Eagles finally made a tough decision that had been hanging over the team. Xavier Gibson, despite his speed and occasional big play potential, has been released. It's never easy to see a player lose their spot, but the reality is that mistakes and fumbles have piled up, and the team has to prioritize consistency. In steps Britton CVY, a player who may not always break a big run, but provide safe, reliable field position and can be counted on to execute the game plan. His return feels like a stabilizing move, something that the offense can depend on as they continue to face tough competition in the NFC East. This adjustment is part of the larger picture of a team working to refine its identity and make sure every piece on the field is contributing the right way. Turning briefly to other league news. There's a lot to process when looking at the NFC landscape. Teams are beating each other in unpredictable ways. The Rams, for instance, had a decisive win over the Cardinals, which shook up expectations. The Bears have dropped games that, on paper, they should have competed harder in. And watching the Packers lose to teams like this reminds you that this season has been anything but straightforward for the Eagles. It's a reminder that they can't let lapses cost them. Losses to the Cowboys and Bears at home have been frustrating, no question. But they also underline the importance of taking control of your own destiny. Every matchup matters. And when you're looking at potential playoff seeding, the tiebreakers and head-to-head matchups can make all the difference. Speaking of matchups, the upcoming games against teams like the Commanders are crucial. Injuries have changed the landscape there. And while one might think their season is effectively over, the Eagles have to approach every opponent with focus and discipline. With key players out on those teams, it's about taking advantage while still executing your own strategy at a high level. Wins in these games don't just improve the record, they set the tone for playoff positioning, home field advantage, and overall momentum. That's where leadership like Hurts becomes essential. When a quarterback is reviewing every detail of past games, figuring out the plays that work, and making adjustments, it sets the standard for the rest of the squad. Now, it's impossible to ignore what's happening with other figures in the league and how it intersects with the Eagles' situation. Take someone like Shane Steichen, who is currently in Indianapolis. His team has faced challenges with injuries and roster questions, yet he's been making adjustments and trying to maximize the talent he has. Some fans are quick to call for changes, but it's worth noting how much a coach like him can actually influence a team's trajectory. There's always talk about firing coaches or shaking things up, but consistency, planning, and strategic adjustments are what build lasting success for Philadelphia. Having someone like Hurts take ownership on the field and push the team to evolve mirrors that kind of approach. It's not just about talent, it's about preparation, leadership, and commitment to the process every single week. Going back to the Eagles, it's clear the team is at a crossroads where decisions and leadership are directly tied to results. Wins against teams like the Raiders and potentially sweeping the Commanders could secure the NFC East, but more than that, it's about making a statement. The Eagles are positioned to claim one of the top seeds if they handle business, and the approach has to be precise, disciplined, and fearless. Watching the other teams falter while the Eagles maintain focus and execute properly creates an opening that's impossible to ignore. This is a season where every game carries weight, and the difference between success and disappointment often comes down to preparation, adjustments, and the willingness of leaders to step up. Hurts reviewing his tape. The roster changes with Britton CVY, and the way the team is managing both injuries and opportunities all reflect a collective focus on taking control of their destiny. Every detail matters, from how the quarterback reads the defense to how the special teams set the field position. The Eagles have been in situations this season where they have allowed momentum to slip away. But the current approach indicates a shift toward accountability, players taking ownership, making the necessary adjustments, and focusing on what they can control will be the difference as the playoff picture comes into focus. There's a sense of urgency that can be felt across the roster. And it's not just talk, it's visible in how the team is approaching practice, game film, and in game decisions. The margin for error is shrinking, and every missed opportunity could be costly, which is why these changes and leadership moves are so crucial at this stage. Offensive adjustments, roster moves, and leadership on the field are all interlinked. The release of Gibson, the return of Britton CVY, and Hurts' proactive study of his own performance signal a team trying to correct its course while maximizing what they have. The Eagles are demonstrating that they are willing to make the tough calls, trust their players, and lean into preparation as the guiding principle as the NFC East continues to shape itself through every win and loss. The importance of each play, each decision, and each player's execution becomes increasingly magnified. It's not just about raw talent. It's about focus, discipline, and the courage to take responsibility at every level of the game as we move deeper into the season. The Eagles' mindset is becoming increasingly clear. This is about seizing control of every opportunity and eliminating any chance for mistakes. The leadership shown by Jalen Hurts sets the tone for the entire roster, because when your quarterback is taking a microscope to past games, looking for nuances, and trying to determine which strategies yield the best results, it sends a message. It tells the team that preparation isn't optional, it's mandatory. It's a mentality that can influence every receiver, every lineman, every running back on the field. When the leader of an offense displays that level of commitment, it creates a ripple effect, pushing everyone else to elevate their own game. The Eagles are in a position where that kind of leadership could make the difference between winning the division and watching opportunities slip away. Offensively, the team is refining its approach in ways that could pay dividends in the coming weeks. The integration of Britton CVY into the fold brings a sense of reliability that was missing with Xavier Gibson. CVY isn't necessarily a player who will break a long touchdown run every game, but his ability to consistently gain yardage, secure possession, and maintain field position creates a foundation for the offense to build around. Football is often a game of margins, and those small, steady gains can translate into points and wins over the course of a season. For the Eagles, having a dependable player back in the rotation is not just a roster move, it's a strategic adjustment that could have long-term implications for playoff positioning. Defensively, the Eagles are keeping a close eye on the shifting landscape of the NFC East. Injuries and inconsistent performances from rival teams are creating openings that the Eagles must exploit. Teams like the Commanders, while struggling, still pose a threat if underestimated, which is why preparation and discipline remain critical, even with key opponents sidelined. The Eagles cannot afford to rely solely on circumstance. They need to control what they can control: execution, focus, and mental toughness. The season has shown that momentum can swing unexpectedly, and games that should be easy wins can suddenly become challenging if the team lets down its guard. That's why the current approach of taking ownership, learning from past mistakes, and refining strategy is so essential at this stage. Looking beyond individual games, the Eagles' positioning in the NFC East has never been more crucial. The playoff picture is a fluid, ever-changing landscape where tiebreakers, head-to-head matchups, and unexpected losses from other teams can shift rankings overnight. The Eagles are sitting in a position where they can capitalize on both their own victories and the struggles of rival teams. Wins against teams like the Raiders and sweeping the Commanders could effectively lock up the division. But even more important than that is the momentum and confidence these victories generate. When a team sees tangible results from hard work, disciplined preparation, and smart decision-making, it reinforces the culture that is necessary for sustained success in the postseason. At the quarterback position, Hurts continues to demonstrate a rare combination of athleticism, intelligence, and leadership. His willingness to dissect his own performances, understand the nuances of each play, and implement adjustments reflects a quarterback who not only wants to win, but also recognizes the responsibility he carries for the entire team's success. This isn't just about individual stats or highlight reel plays, it's about making the right decisions, creating opportunities for teammates, and maintaining composure under pressure. The Eagles' offensive identity increasingly revolves around this leadership, because it sets a standard for professionalism, preparation, and accountability that permeates the entire roster. Coaching strategy is also playing a critical role in the Eagles' path forward, while the league often sees knee-jerk reactions from fans calling for firings and changes. Philadelphia's approach demonstrates patience and trust in the coaching staff's ability to adapt. Shane Steichen's counterpart situation in Indianapolis highlights how complex quarterback management and offensive schemes can be, especially when dealing with injuries or inconsistent performance. Philadelphia's willingness to trust its own coaching staff while allowing players like Hurts to take ownership on the field suggests a collaborative approach to solving problems, and approach that can ultimately yield long-term benefits if executed properly. Special teams and situational football remain pivotal for the Eagles' success as well. Field position, time management, and decision-making on critical downs all contribute to the margin between victory and defeat. Players like Britton CVY are key components in this aspect of the game, as they can reliably move the chains and provide the offense with manageable opportunities to score. Football is often decided in these small, incremental moments rather than in spectacular plays alone. By focusing on fundamentals, minimizing errors, and capitalizing on opponents' weaknesses, the Eagles are building a blueprint for success that doesn't rely on luck, but on consistent execution. As the Eagles continue through this stretch of the season, the mentality is clear: no game can be taken lightly, no opponent underestimated, and no opportunity wasted. The combination of Hurts' proactive leadership, strategic roster adjustments, and disciplined preparation across all phases of the team is creating a foundation for a potential deep playoff run. Injuries, unexpected losses, and the fluctuations of other teams create openings, but the Eagles' success ultimately depends on their ability to control what they can control by maintaining focus, executing with precision, and continuously refining their approach. Philadelphia is positioning itself not just to win games, but to define the type of team that is capable of competing at the highest level when it matters most. Momentum, discipline, and leadership are recurring themes for the Eagles as the season progresses. With the NFC East still in play, every victory counts, and every mistake carries consequences. The team's ability to adapt, integrate new strategies, and maintain consistent performance across the board will determine whether they can capitalize on their opportunities. It's about controlling the narrative through preparation, execution, and accountability. The Eagles' current approach demonstrates that they are not waiting for circumstances to dictate their fate, they are actively shaping it. And players like Hurts and CVY are central to that process. Every practice, every game, and every adjustment contributes to the larger goal: securing a division title and entering the playoffs with the confidence and momentum necessary to make a deep run. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments and let's talk birds. Philadelphia appears to be humming with a strange, uneasy energy and almost electric tension that has nothing to do with scoreboard pressure or playoff math. A growing rumor, whispered first in dim corridors of the training complex and now echoing across fan forums and talk show phone lines, suggests that Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni is preparing to make a decision so baffling, so disruptive, that insiders are calling it the potential turning point of the entire season, and not the good kind. Word around the NovaCare facility is that Sirianni is contemplating leaving a key player out of the lineup, an unexpected omission that has already stirred a storm of speculation. No one seems to agree on the motive. Some insist it's discipline, others swear it's a philosophical statement about team culture. A few believe it's simply stubbornness wrapped in competitive bravado. Whatever the truth is, the effect has been the same. A city famous for passion and panic in equal measure is leaning hard toward the latter. Fans, sensing something seismic, have begun treating the rumor like a looming natural disaster. Sports radio hosts fuel the flames, suggesting the move could fracture the locker room. Former players hint that relationships behind closed doors may be more strained than the team lets on. Even anonymous staffers, always the most tantalizing voices in these situations, suggest that the internal debate has reached a boil. Sirianni has offered no public confirmation, no denial, not even one of his trademark sidesteps wrapped in upbeat coach speak. That silence, more than anything else, has magnified the noise. Each practice rep observed from afar becomes a clue. Each sideline interaction, a possible sign. Each absent moment from team activities, A spark that ignites a new round of theories. Is the coach making a bold stand, a miscalculation, a message to the team, or simply a gamble he believes he must take? Consequences be damned. Right now, Philadelphia doesn't know. But the city can feel the tremor before the impact. And the fear is growing that this decision, whatever shape it ultimately takes, could be the one that sends the season spiraling in a direction no fan wants to imagine. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.